What's going on, YouTube? It's the Advice Slanger. What you slanging? Hey, what you slang gonna come back to you. So today is Freedom Friday, and today we're gonna talk about do not run from your feelings and emotions. Do not run from your feelings and emotions. Many people do just that. They run from their feelings and emotions and do not deal with them when they're currently happening. Right? So when those feelings and those emotions come back around, then they're not able to benefit from having dealt with them before. And then those same feelings come and they wreak worse havoc than if they would have dealt with them before. So I'm going to give you guys 3 examples, 3 feelings that people run from, and I'll tell you what will happen, how you will benefit from not running from them. So the first example is do not run from the feeling of good and bad. Many people, right, they ignore their intuition. Do not ignore the feeling. If you have a bad feeling about something or somebody, don't ignore that. Do not ignore that feeling, okay? Do not ignore your intuition. And I pat on my stomach when I say intuition is because some of the same neurons we have in our brain, we have in our gut. Hence the term gut feeling, right? So do not ignore that. If you have a bad feeling about somebody, majority of the time, if not all the time, you having that feeling for a reason. The reason why you do get a bad feeling about people is because the intuition that God gave us, the intuition that the universe gave us, right? That intuition is trying to keep us from experiencing something that we're not meant to experience, that we're not built to experience yet. Something that's gonna do way more bad than good. It's going to do more harm than helping, right? So that's what your intuition is there for, is to help you to not have to experience things that you're not built to experience or that you're not supposed to experience, okay? So do not ignore your intuition when you get a bad feeling. On the flip side, do not ignore the intuition when the good thing is there. When it feels good, when you have a good feeling about somebody or something, right? Do not ignore that. Take heed to that. Even if you don't want to have a good feeling about that person, you have a good feeling about that person for a reason. That's why it's so important to be in tune with yourself and love yourself and be happy with yourself and actually get to know yourself. Because then you can differentiate, between you just having wild emotions and all that, and actually paying attention to what your intuition is trying to tell you, right? So I'm gonna give you an example of the good, right? Just real quick. And I know that some men have dealt with this, including myself, right? But everybody does. So let's say you like a guy or a girl, So you like them, you're trying to talk to them or whatever, right? And you're talking to them, whatever, and you kind of asking them, hey, let's go out to dinner, let's go do this, go do that, right? You trying to hang out with them, you just trying to spend time with them. And they always say no, because they kind of like you, but they don't want to like you, so they're like, nah, right? So eventually they'll say yes, because God in the universe has a way of bringing people together to teach them a lesson that they need to learn. Lessons that need to be learned, the universe will make it a way. They'll make a way for you to learn that lesson. Some people are there for a moment, some people are there for the long run, right? So eventually they'll say yes, right? And when they say yes, y'all have a great time. Ooh, y'all have a great time. One of the best times of y'all lives. Y'all have a great time doing whatever it is y'all doing. Then you don't hear from them no more. It's because they're running from what it is. They could have other issues, but majority of the time is they're running from that feeling that they like you. They don't want to like you. You may not have all the qualities that they may want. You may only have a few. The ones that you don't have are maybe one of the more important ones to them. Okay? Many people who have been hurt and who are, who've been hurt and they're down, they've been down and out before and they've been misused and mistreated, they have a wall up and they kind of have this too good to be true type of mentality. If you're one of those people that have a too good to be true type of mentality, work on loving yourself. Because when you know your worth, you won't think that something is too good for you. You'll be able to appreciate when something is good. Same way with appreciating when something is bad. Or not appreciating, same way with avoiding things that give you a bad feeling. Or people that give you a bad feeling. It don't matter how close you are, how good of friends y'all are, how long y'all been dating, who it is. If you get a bad feeling about them, the best thing to do is just go ahead and let them go. Go ahead and distance yourself. When you can or if you can. So the second feeling that people run from, right, is the feeling of success and failure. Success and failure. When you fail, do not run from that feeling of failure. Own that feeling of failure, because let me tell you this. You're not going to succeed in everything in life. You're not. That's not the way life works. You're not going to succeed at every single thing that you do. You're not. Okay? So the point or the benefit of failing, right, is you can learn. That's a chance for you to learn. That's a chance for you to reevaluate why you failed and do better the next time. You know what I'm saying? Don't give up. You know what I'm saying? But don't give up, but don't forget that feeling of failure. Don't just brush it off and keep going and don't actually remember, you know what I'm saying, the feeling of failure. That don't mean you have to dwell on it. That don't mean you have to let it affect how it is, how, you know what I'm saying, your path as far as getting to your dreams and your goals. But do not forget that, right? In the same token, do not run from the feeling of success. And you may say, oh, well, who runs from success? Success is a good thing. People run from success. I was one of those people. I did not want people, you know what I'm saying? I didn't want to be that forefront dude that was out there that everybody was looking at for inspiration and motivation, you know what I'm saying, ironically, like I'm doing now. I didn't want that before. I ran from that. God gave me the gift of leadership and the gift of gab, if you will. You know what I'm saying? The gift to be able to speak to people in their language. And, you know, I ran from that because I was doing things that I didn't want everybody to know. I didn't want everybody looking at me and expecting me to be this pillar of the community. I didn't want that. And there's lots of people that feel the same way. But when you do get some success, do not run from that. And I'm telling you this personal experience, do not run from that. Because if you run from that, it will end right there. Your success will end, and then you will not rise any higher. You will not ever reach your dreams and your goals if you do not remember and take heed, you know, or not take heed, if you remember and take notice to the feeling of success. Okay? So, when you remember the feeling of failure, right? You know, because it goes hand in hand. When you remember the feeling of failure, all these go hand in hand, but when you remember the feeling of failure, when you do get success, the success will be that much more sweeter because you know what it's like to fail. You've been there, you know what I'm saying, when it's like, you know what I'm saying, you've been there in the failure's lane. You know what I'm saying? You know what it's like to fail. So when you actually do succeed, especially if you succeed at something that you've been failing at, oh man. You know what I'm saying? This is going to be that much sweeter. Okay? So remember, don't run from the feeling of failure. If you fail, don't run from that. Own it. Okay, I failed. What can I do to succeed next time? Some of the, you know, most wealthy and successful people and happy people, and the happiest people in the world have failed dozens of times. You know, but it's not about when you fail. It's about what you do afterwards. It's not about the mistakes you make. It's about what you do after the mistake that defines a person. Okay? So do not run from failure. Do not. Own it. Remember how it felt. Because when you get to succeed, you know what I'm saying, when you succeed at something, then man, you'll be like, man, you know what I'm saying, I know how it feels to fail, and now I know how it feels to succeed. And if you start getting a level of success, do not run from it. Okay? So the next feeling that people run from, right, is the feeling of loss and gain. Okay? The feelings of loss and gain. If you lose somebody in your family, lose your job, maybe not able to go back to school because you couldn't pay, whatever you lose, okay, own that feeling. Deal with that feeling right then and do not forget it, right? Do not forget it. Like I say, do not let it affect your long-term dreams and goals, but don't forget it. Keep it in your mind, all right? Keep it in your mind, in the back of your mind as to how it feels, okay? And the reason why you want to do that is because when you gain something, when you gain, you're just like with success and failure, it's going to be that much better. You're going to treat it much, much better. You know, if you lost your job, man, when you get that new job, oh man, you're going to be the number one employee. You're going to make sure that you're going to be the number one employee because you know what it's like to lose a job versus somebody else who have lost a job, but they didn't actually take the time to soak in how it feels, or they've never lost a job. They may just be real whimsical. Unless they're just a really good worker. But even then, most of them are just going to be real whimsical about it. Versus you're going to get in there and put that work in and be the number one employee because you know what it's like to lose a job, right? So, let's say you lost somebody in your family. Let's say you lost a brother. We just buried a cousin of mine not too long ago. And he has 4 other brothers. Yeah, he has 4 other brothers. You know, 6 a lot of them, but they're all boys, 4 other brothers. And man, you know what I'm saying, they was real sad about that, as they should be, right? And I guarantee you, they're cherishing each other more now since they lost one. You know, so that's what I'm saying. You own the feeling of when you lose somebody, and because you will start treating everyone else around you that you really do care about, you'll start treating them 10 times better, just because you know what it's like to lose somebody. So, you know, and then same thing with, you know what I'm saying, if you can't get back in school. You can't get back in school, man. When you do get in there, you're going to apply so much pressure. You're going to be the top of your class. You know what I'm saying? Because you know what it's like to not be able to go back, and that was part of your dream, you know. So do not run from the feeling of loss and gain, because anything that's lost will be replaced with something greater, something that you lost that was out of your control. And now if you messed it up, then that's different. You know, it'll still be replaced by something greater, but you will have to put in the work to get that more than if something was just taken from you, or you lost something that was out of your control. So anything you lost will be replaced with something greater. Remember that. So don't run from the feeling of loss and gain. So let's go over a little recap of the 3 feelings that you should not run from, and that can benefit you if you treat them right. Don't run from the feeling of good and bad. Don't ignore your intuition. Do not run from the feeling of success and failure. You know, so do not run from success, and definitely do not run from the feeling of failure. And do not run from the feeling of loss and gain. You lose something, do not run from it. You gain something, do not run from the feeling of gain. You know what I'm saying? Don't ignore the feeling of gain. You know, I won't say run from it, but don't ignore the feeling of gain. Because if you ignore the feeling of gain, you won't really grasp how good it is. You know, so you won't really grasp how good it is. You won't be as appreciative of what you've gained. You know, but if you run from the feeling of loss, that's what's gonna happen. When you do gain something, it's not gonna be as good. You're not gonna take you're not gonna be as appreciative of it. You're not gonna treat it as good. So those are the 3, you know, and there's lots of them. It's many more of them, but those are just 3 I want to bring to you guys' attention. So I hope this video was able to help y'all. I know it's a little late, you know what I'm saying, the sun's been beaming. I know it's been hot everywhere. The sun's been beaming, and man, it cooks my phone. I can't even record, be here for 5 minutes and my phone be over, you know what I'm saying, be trying to overheat. So that's why I had to come out when the sun is down. So I love y'all. I really do. I hope the video was able to help. Of course, Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat will be down here at the bottom. Okay? It will be down here at the bottom. So do not forget, please send me questions, things that's on your mind, you know, things for me to talk about that you would like to hear me talk about, and I'll make a video on it. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat will be down here and in the description. I love y'all. Y'all stay well. Y'all stay blessed. Love yourself, because if you don't love yourself, it's impossible to love anybody else. It's the Advice Slinger. Out.
Big Steve on the track with another banger. They say I'm the GOAT, the Advice Slinger. There's a lot of temptation, but I know it's danger. Inspiration from the king, he started in a manger.